Hi, welcome to our Marginally Effective Teacher Group Assignment. My name is Wendy Alanese.
I'm Tara Marchand.
And Sarah Cheney. So in this project, we learned about Mrs. Session through 2 walkthroughs and some parent contact. And we learned that she was not teaching the proficient level that we have observed her doing in the past. And so now we are presenting her with this plan. So in interactions and observations of Mrs. Session, we have concluded that she's quadrant 1. She appears to have lack of abstract depth that would allow her to make effective planning and teaching changes in her classroom, whether that was the cause of lack of commitment or the combination that yields a dissatisfied teacher who is marginally effective in engaging and teaching all of the students. For quadrants, we kind of went back and forth between quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. We like quadrant 1 because she didn't have lesson plans. She seemed to have a limited tricks in her bag when she got frustrated with the students and just had them work out of their textbook, which is what they usually did to begin with. And then it stated in the scenario that she was unwilling to change her instructional practices, and then that she has low commitment. We were also thinking quadrant 3, just because her 17 years of experience, one would think that she does have a lot more tricks in her bag. And she has been proficient in the past when we observed her for T-test. So it seems that she knows how to be proficient, but she's choosing not to practice those and put that into place. And then also quadrant 3 is kind of a combination of collaboration and directive styles, but we are going with quadrant 1 for this project.
So our diagnosis is that student participation and learning is low because the level of the planning and the implementation of her differentiated lessons does not meet the standard for our school's instruction. And so our prescription for that is that she plan in a timely manner and implement differentiated instruction that increases student participation and learning. According to her being in quadrant 1, the supervision should be directive, but we plan to include her collaboratively as well, depending on how she responds to our initial directives.
And so due to her due to the observations that we have done with Mrs. Session, we have decided that she does need a directive style where we want to see changes occurring as soon as possible since it is affecting student learning. So next time that we meet with Mrs. Session, we would hold a directive conference with her where we will talk about our diagnosis that we have seen, the prescription that we have created. We also created a timeline that we will be going into detail with her. And then we will be inviting Mrs. Session to say what she thinks. However, in a directive style approach, which is what we are taking with her, we are the decision makers and we are not going to be negotiating with her, arguing, attempting to convince, or attempting to reach consensus. So we can go ahead and go into our intervention plan a little bit more into detail.
So we have, and after reviewing our interactions with her, our walkthroughs, and our previous experiences, we want, and we think that the biggest thing that she should work on is T-test dimension 1.1, which is the standards and alignments. And that's because we need her to have clear, well-organized sequential lessons that reflect the best practices and align with standards and are appropriate for the diverse learners in her classroom. And we think before she can move into anything else, she needs to get that under control. And then the second dimension that we'd like to focus on with her is the differentiation 2.4. And that specifically is that we need her to differentiate her instruction, aligning methods and techniques to diverse student needs. So the tricks in the bag that Sarah mentioned earlier, we need more tricks in her bag.
And in order to help her grow, we are assigning specific activities with specific dates for her to complete. So as you can see here, she is going to be attending a district professional development session specifically targeting designing engaging lessons on February 2nd. We will be providing a substitute for her. Mrs. Session will also be turning in weekly lesson plans on the Monday prior to each week, and this is just to hold her accountable. But she's also going to be meeting with our instructional coach each Tuesday after the lessons are turned in. And this way her and the instructional coach together can make adjustments and collaborate on the implementation of best practices into the lesson plans. And Mrs. Session will also complete one classroom observation in a high quality teaching classroom every 2 weeks during her conference period. During this observation, she's going to be taking notes and lesson ideas and any positives that she sees within this classroom. She will be taking these notes to her following Tuesday meeting with the instructional coach so they can discuss it. And we will continue this process for no less than 6 weeks, at which time we will be reevaluating with Mrs. Session.
So for evidence that we will collect to determine whether her growth activities have been completed, so she will need to provide a certificate of completion for the district professional development designing engaging lessons, and that will be due February 25th, so shortly after the actual professional development takes place. Lesson plans will be checked every Monday at 4 p.m. So she's turning those in on Monday. We expect them to be turned in Monday at 4. We'll be checking to make sure she's actually turning those in. Provide weekly reflections of takeaways from Tuesday's meetings with the instructional coach and an email to the appraiser. So she's just going, after she meets with the instructional coach, she'll send us a short email, just some takeaways, maybe something that she learned that day, just so we know they're having great meetings, efficient meetings. And then lastly, following classroom observations of a colleague, bring number 1, 3 best practice ideas from the lesson, or 2, 1 activity or lesson idea you or she'd like to bring or to try on the following Tuesday's meeting. So we really want her to take something from these observations and not just sit in the classroom because we said she had to. So to the Tuesday meeting with the instructional coach, she has to bring one of these so we really know that she's honing in on what that teacher is doing and why what that teacher is doing is so beneficial.
So our directives and timelines for changes are that we would like her to consistently plan and implement aligned lesson plans in a timely manner that results in 90% of actual class time being high quality learning and teaching by the first week of April of this year, 2022. And lastly, the differentiation, we would like her to have her lessons reflect best practices that she's observed and then subsequently adopted, resulting in at least 3 different styles of learning that she's including in her classroom instruction by the last week of April in 2022. And the reason why we are giving her the longer amount of time, the longer timeline for improvement is because A, she's got 17 years of experience with us. Most of that is rated as proficient. With her 17 years, she also carries a substantial influence in our building and in our surrounding community. And while our concerns are based on issues that are vital to student learning, we do want to make sure that she knows these are corrective goals. We do want to continue our relationship with her and have her employed with us, but we do also acknowledge that if she's unable or unwilling to meet these goals or improve, then we might move towards dismissal. And that's it.
And that is our intervention plan for Mrs. Session. And following back on our slides, you will find our references that we have used for this project. Thank you.
Thank you.